I am beautiful inside and out, delivered to me by Grow Coffee. Then tell me how you do it. That's what I had last week. Aye. Mine's just like, and Alex Kate. Right, you're back. I was actually thinking that in the mind.
An Empire biscuit, sorry, it's not.
So before we go into anything else, right? So what? It'll probably all 40 bits, man, but it doesn't matter. It's still worth a go.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
When's the last time I ran down a hill?
That's it.
That is. We good to go. We live. You sure? So before we get started, right, I'm going to say hello LinkedIn, me again. I have to say that. That's the slogan, as I've now been told. But yeah, obviously last week we had some technical difficulties, and again, still trying to work out whether it's Kevin's too good looking or too ugly for the telly. Right, so we're answers in a postcard. But anybody in my business that's watching this just now, give Andrew a wee shout and let him know that you can definitely see us and hear us. So thanks for joining the show today. We've got Bryce Cunningham, right? Bryce has got one of the most amazing farms I've ever been on, called Mossgiel, and we're going to talk about what Bryce does there, all the approach that he's taken, and how he's taken the David and Goliath story to the farming world. But before we go into that, we obviously have to give a big shout out. So big shout out to Andrew, right? Andrew, give yourself a pat in the back, right? You want to show everybody your new nashers, no? I'll show you mine when I get them. But so Andrew, give yourself a pat in the back for Bull Mango Media and Grow as always. So me and Bryce, so Bryce get yourself a wee flat white.
Yeah.
We both got us all one of these wee fancy fruit juice things. And there you go, Bryce. Show the camera.
Cakes, of course, right? Yeah, an absolute beast, this is.
So, but Bryce and I had the conversation about, do we eat this while we're live? And I says absolutely no way. All there is. And then Andrew's got wee millionaires, honeymoon slice and another strawberry tart. So Alana, everybody that's in the office that's maybe watching this now, I'm going to bring this. In fact, am I going to bring it back? No, I'm next. I'm going somebody else. I've got to say who you can decide who can have that, but I'm not going back to the office.
It's a sunny day, that's going in your gob.
Right, so I think I'll just eat it. I think that's a good shout, Bryce. Right, so are we working? We're working, we're good. Because last week, Kevin and I were about 5 minutes into a conversation and then realised it wasn't. So we're good that we're working. What I'm going to say is, because Kevin will be watching this, because he was saying to me, so we were talking about, obviously when I first started the business, so Kevin got me my first bit of tech, right? So
Right.
the motion application camera I got, he got an asset finance for us, and he then decided to turn around and say that it was great because I had a business plan. He says, but I wrote it in crayon. So there you go, Kev, I've got your joke out for you while you're trying to rip into me. Right, Bryce, tell us about Mossgiel. Tell us a wee bit, because I want the audience to hear the backstory of Mossgiel, because I've heard it, it's phenomenal. So start there, and then we'll go into where you're now and where the business is going.
Cool. So Mossgiel, so basically what we are is a dairy farm. I'm the third generation farmer at that dairy farm. We've also got a manufacturing business where we supply liquid milk across Scotland. That's all organic and all from small scale organic farms, which we support quite a few across Scotland now. And we've also got a small coffee shop in Stewarton where we're trying to bring organic and natural and local food. So that's a bit of an overview of where we came from. So I was born on the farm. And as I was growing up, hated it. Absolutely didn't want any day with farming. Had a big argument with my dad when I left at school, saying I wasn't standing under the arse of a cow the rest of my life. So I went off and got an apprenticeship with Mercedes-Benz. Loved the job, loved working in the fancy cars. About 7 years later, I managed to get into a kind of lower level management position, into a bit of marketing and things like that. Totally loved it. And by year 10, things were going well. I was getting the opportunity to possibly go and do something in Germany with Mercedes, and we discovered that my dad and my grandpa were both diagnosed with terminal health conditions on the farm. My gran, in the same time, also had a fall and she was disabled. And typical family farm at the time, that was the three business partners. So you know, farming's quite traditional. It's all family businesses. So I thought, right, I'll take a few weeks off, go out to the farm, see how bad it is. Both dad and papa were diagnosed as terminal pretty shortly after. And I thought, right, okay, I'm going to, I need to leave my work because we've got this farm to, sell the cows and come out the farm. I was tenanted, we didn't own the farm, so that was that. Did that for about a year. My grandpa died first, then my dad died, and I kind of thought, right, okay, I'm kind of in now. Let's give it a go. I'll see if I can make a bit of a job of this. We're milking 150 cows. We're milking them. Three times a day at the time, so we were milking like every 7 hours. Very, very intensive job, and then the milk price collapsed about a week after my dad's funeral, and we went from being paid 27 pence a litre to 15 pence a litre, which meant that we were losing about 100 grand in my first 6 months. Then the milk price collapsed again to 9 pence, and that was basically, it was game over. It was wipeout situation. So the bank came along and said, look, this isn't working. You've got no experience because you were a Mercedes-Benz mechanic, no a farmer. And your dad just built all these big fancy sheds and milking parlour and bought these extra cows. So we were heavily indebted and they pulled the rug for us. They just said, no more overdraft, no more loans, that kind of thing. So we defaulted in everything, had to sell up the cows. And I was the whole thing in the back of my mind was, when I was standing there in my suit at Mercedes-Benz, or in my overalls or whatever, and somebody had a Mercedes-Benz and something went wrong with it, they wanted a service, they drove into the garage and they said, I need this done. And you said, no bother, it's going to cost you this, maybe a wee bit of negotiation. And that was that was it. And Mercedes-Benz was able to flourish, and so was the garage and things. So I came back to the farm, it was very much, we worked my backside off, and then at the end of the month, we were told how much our milk was worth. It didn't matter if you were a fantastic farmer or a terrible farmer, the price was always dictated to you by the commodity milk price. So we went through that whole thing and we're kind of selling the cows off, and I thought, I really want to give this a go. And the thing that really pushed it was my milk buyer went bust, so we had nowhere to sell the milk to. And I thought, right, I want to do something. And the thing that always kind of stuck in the back of my mind, as well as this whole sort of commodity pricing thing, was that when I left the farm, I hated milk. I put a wee splash in my coffee. Never drank cereal. Wouldn't drink a bottle of milk. It was because the taste, there was nothing like what I remembered in the farm. And when I went back to the farm, I was basically taking raw milk for the cows, drinking it, eating cereal. I thought, I need to bring this back. So what we did was I designed a way to pasteurise milk that's the same as how Mercedes-Benz calls its gearboxes, because it was the only thing I could work out what a heat exchanger was. And accidentally invented a new way of doing milk, because it's illegal to sell raw milk in Scotland, so I couldn't sell raw, so I had to sell pasteurised, but I couldn't afford a pasteuriser, so created this new way of doing it, and took it to a coffee shop that was local. It turns out that this fancy way with pasteurised milk works really, really, really well in specialty coffee, and the business has grown for there. Today we're turning over just under £3 million, and we're ready to push and go hard on it. So it's quite a different.
What a story! And again, we're going to talk a wee bit more about resilience. And that's a pure testament to you as a person, that you're going, do you know what? Hundreds of folk would have just thrown in the towel, right? Hundreds of folk, in fact, probably 80% of people would have thrown in the towel. But you're like me, you're quite stubborn, right? Yep. And it's true, but you think you need to be, right? Because you need to be that stubborn thing and say, do you know what? I'm not going to let you beat me. Yep. Right, it's just not going to happen, and I'm going to figure out a way. And that's what you did by obviously inventing the way that you're doing things now. And obviously I've seen it, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's that when I came to the farm, it was nothing the kids were expecting it to be. And then when you're talking about where it's going, you're going, this is awesome, totally awesome. And just going through that part of the process and going, it's a challenge after a challenge after a challenge. But you're still going, do you know what? I can still try and make this work. I'll figure out a way. And that's just amazing. I'm actually going to, so I was down at Booth Welsh today, right? Who get your milk, right? That's right, yeah. And Booth Welsh's coffees are absolutely outstanding, right? Obviously, Grows are great, right? I'm not going to say anything bad about Grow, but that's, I mean, but you go into Booth Welsh and everybody that goes in there, like visitors and all that kind of stuff, they all get a coffee, right? Yeah. The coffees are outstanding, so that people love them. Yeah. So it just goes to show that there's just a business that just has got its own wee kind of coffee area, right? That everybody loves their coffee. And when I was in there today, I was obviously said that you were coming on the show, and I was talking to them about it. And I says, that's how everybody loves coming in here. I says, because the coffee's amazing. Usually I just talk a lot of crap, right? But they love a coffee.
Come for the coffee.
Aye, and they were all pissing themselves. But aye, it is getting that back to because I didn't used to see when I was younger. I can remember when obviously you were on a farm, but when I used to drive about doing my paper run, I used to steal folks' milk off their doorstep, right? And you would drink it out the bottle while you were driving your bike and all that kind of stuff. And you just never ever got that same taste. You see the first drink is pure creamy and sticks in your mouth and all that kind of stuff. And then you're getting into the actual milk. And I was similar to you, where the only time I would ever have milk was in my cereal.
Yeah.
Right? Because I wasn't really a big fan of it. I now think that having your milk and coffee it just makes it taste much better.
Yeah.
So it's that getting all that back and trying to go back to the roots of it and where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And one of the other things, because I've seen you do a lot of this, is like, so see if you go to buy milk at the supermarket, right, which is like semi-skim milk or that. That's not really got a huge amount of protein in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yours has got tons of protein in, is it not?
It's not so much the protein's still there. It's just that because of the way that we call it brewing, this is a unique way of pasteurising that we do. It doesn't damage the proteins in the same way. So it doesn't destabilise the proteins during the pasteurisation process. And then our milk's cream top. So I could go into the boring science of it, but basically what it means is our cream settles to the top of the milk, which is the way it happens naturally as raw milk. And the supermarket milk and mainstream milk, what they do is they put it through a machine called a homogenizer, which breaks up all that fat. And that all came about a way back in the 70s, and that came about because when supermarkets started really growing and shops started to amalgamate, what they wanted was a white product to sat on a shelf for the customer didn't know how long it sat there. And if you walk in and that milk had a big cream top, you knew that was sitting there for a couple of days. If you walked in and it was pure white top to bottom, then
they think it's fresh.
So that's why it came about. But the problem with that is you've lost flavour, you're losing, a lot of people argue you're losing nutrition, you're losing a lot of the natural proteins within that. So the protein's still there, it's just in a different form.
Because that was obviously one of the things that I never really thought about. It was the kind of protein content and the good for you, because it used to be years ago, milk's good for you.
That's right. Yeah.
Then it's milk's bad for you.
It's bad for you.
Right. And then you're like, right, so is it good for me or bad for me? But now I think it's getting back to the stage, especially the milk that you're making is actually good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah.
The same as bread. I mean, it used to be bread was good, then bread was bad.
Yeah.
Then you're like, what actually is good for you and bad for you?
The sourdough revolutions in the
Aye. Well, I'll tell you something, your sourdough's cracking and all. So your mum doesn't make it anymore though, does she?
No, she's back to the NHS. She helped us kick off the bakery and she's back to
obviously Andrew, honestly, see Bryce's mum's sourdough bread. Oh man, it's so good. I was going out to his place in Stuart just to buy a loaf. Right, it's so good. It is so good. Very, very good. The Waynes loved it. It was brilliant. So where's the business going this year? Obviously, you're 3 million, but you've got high ambitions for not just your farm, but what you're trying to do in general. Because we talked about it's a bit of a kind of David versus Goliath story. Yeah. And that's where we're going out and try to raise money just now, and that's what we're saying. We're fighting against companies that are multi-million, some of them billion-dollar organisations. So we're going out there and try to do it different.
Yeah.
And that's where I think our kind of 2 stories and journeys resonate, because you're very similar to that. So what is that looking like for you just now?
Well, so I'll tell the story. So the reason for the David and Goliath thing was back in those days when we were really struggling and trying to sell milk and things, we made the decision we could either stay a small farm supplying a very niche market, and that was going to be us, and we could make a bit of money, save the farm, and that would be it. But what I wanted to do was, because I'd seen the Mercedes side of things and I'd seen how bad it can get for us, that we thought, well, why do we not just share this? Why don't we just become a processor, work with other farms, and then we can brew in this unique way, support other farms, and the whole idea is they can farm the way they want to, as long as it's within an organic spec. Then we can go forward from that. You might not know this, but since the day I was born, there was 30,000 dairy farms went bust from 1986. 30,000 have went bust in the UK since 1986 to today, and the majority of them are small farms. Farms are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, more and more corporate. The small family farms disappear, and the small independent farms disappear. So I thought, right, can we amalgamate all this? How can I have small farms that are organic, that are getting paid a good sustainable milk price. It's not dictated to by big corporate industries. So initially we started working with a group called Mossgiel, who are a cooperative of small farms. So we started buying milk from them. Today we're going more independent, direct to farms. And the idea is we pay farms a sustainable milk price to farm organically and sustainably. We tell that story to the customer, and in between we brew it in a way that keeps the milk as natural as possible. So that's what's got us the growth, and that's where we're going. That's where we are, sorry. Where we're going is that we believe there's a massive opportunity, not just in Scotland, but UK wide. Well, actually, you're going to hear it first. We're just about to launch in London next month.
There you go. So this is a late lunch show exclusive.
Yeah.
Aye,
So,
Mossgiel Farms are in London. Right,
So,
you beware, you Londoners. Wait till you taste this milk.
Yeah.
It's going to change your world.
so it's a third week in April. We're launching in London into doorstep deliveries.
Fantastic.
We think that we can grow the business dramatically to support at least 6 small-scale farms in Scotland. Beyond that, we don't just want to be just a Scottish company and ferrying milk from Auckland down to London. What we want to do is actually support this UK-wide. So we're looking at a plan where we can have processing plants up and down the country to support small-scale farms, so that farms near London can supply London,
Aye.
farms in Scotland can supply Scotland. And where we think we can go is we think that we can get to about 20 million litres per year, which is about roughly 25 to 30 million pound turnover for us. And that 20 million would support up to about 50 small-scale farms. If we can do that, we're never going to be the biggest dairy, but if we can be that one that supports small-scale farming in the UK, that's what we want to do.
Because it's a community of people who have been continually getting kicked.
Yep,
right.
absolutely.
And you're going, right, let us get together and kick back.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah.
And I think that I mean, obviously you and I have spoke 100 times and stuff, right? And for me, that's the thing where you're going, right, that's all these kind of farmers that are out there that are probably been in a similar position to you, where they're constantly getting challenge after challenge after challenge. They can try and do the right thing. They're trying to do the right thing for the planet, for their people, for their own farm, try to make money. And it's constantly the rug getting pulled out of them, up from under them by other people. You're going, do you know what? Let's just get together. Let's do this, and then let's go and make an impact. And and see the feedback for all these other farms. Is it right? Okay, are they as passionate as you are about it?
They are, yeah. So I think that it's taken a while to get here. So I think that because farming is quite a traditional industry. So when I came into it and I started, being quite bold in social media, we got a lot of enemies and a lot of people that basically said, shut up, calm down a wee bit and all this kind of stuff.
You're not even a farmer, shut your face.
Exactly, all this kind of stuff, yeah. So more recently, the milk prices collapsed again. The industry's going through the same as it did when we went bust. I think a lot of people are now going, actually, I've got 100 to 150 cows. This maybe isn't working economically. This business model might be an option. I think it's certainly turning the tide. But I mean, the farmers that work with us, they're very supportive. We're very supportive of them. We get together every year at the Highland Show and have a stall together and just go on. So I think it's a movement that's taken a while to get there, but it's really grown now, I think.
And I think it's back to you say it's a traditional industry. We can only really kind of reflect on the sectors that we work with, but we work with a lot of mature sectors, and they know that they need to do something different, but they're scared to sometimes do it, or it just takes them a bit longer to evolve. But see, once because we talk obviously try to digitalise these sectors, but once they see it, they see the value. They're like, I wish I'd done this years ago. And you'll maybe find that you've got a lot of the people that you're working with now that are going, I wish I'd just done this 2 or 3 years ago, and they could maybe be in a different position.
Absolutely,
But it's hard. It's when somebody's done something the same way for probably the last 100 years. Right? Yeah. Getting them to actually think about how to do it differently is challenging.
It is, absolutely, yeah.
And is it, and you seeing it, is it like even older generation farmers? So obviously you're younger, you're obviously quite new, you've been out of the industry and other industries and stuff like that. But is your kind of network now younger people, or still the traditional kind of mid-late 50s and stuff like that, farmers that have been doing it the same way for a while? Or
no, I would say that I suppose the interesting thing is with organics is that to become organic in the industry is quite unusual. There's only I think I don't know exact numbers, but say 25 to 30 farms out of 700 in Scotland that are organic dairy farms.
Right.
So it's quite unusual. So to take that step into organics initially, you have to be quite open-minded.
Aye.
Like, just give an example, like a couple of weeks before Dad died, I was thinking, what do we do with the farm? I'd spent a bit of time in Germany and seen these organic farms, and I said, what if we went organic, Dad? And he went, if you want to go bankrupt quickly, go organic.
Aye.
That was the mindset. And then I said, what if I sell my milk? He says, oh, for fuck's sake. If you want Robert Graham to kill you, go and sell your own milk. So that was the advice I got. And that's kind of the mindset it was 10 years ago.
Aye.
But I would say it's changing now. I see that, organic, I don't know if you know about the organic market, but organic milk's massively scarce in the UK.
Is it?
It's really scarce. So there's a lot of farmers now thinking, I'm getting paid nothing for my conventional milk. What about organics? There's a lot of green shoots here, people thinking about it, and I think that there's a massive opportunity out there.
Aye, so it's not just Bryce that's talking them into changing. There's we call it growth drivers. So there's other growth drivers out there that are actually influencing those decisions. And obviously, you've then done all that work up until now. That all these folk that are going, you're a loon ball, right? You must be off your head, and they're going, well, hold on, let's go and have a wee chat with that loon ball, because that loon ball might not be as mental as we thought he was, right? And they're now starting to get on that journey. But because, so see if you imagine, I'm just thinking, so see, you're seeing these changes now. If you hadn't done everything you'd done and became the person and the voice of this across the whole country, these people would be out there having to try and deal with this themselves. Whereas now you've created a network and a community of people, you're doing it, these other people are doing it, and it's now just a case all they need to do is just do whatever they need to do to certify to be organic, and then just jump on inside.
That's it. Yeah.
Brilliant. It's amazing, because obviously I love seeing people try to change things, right? I love seeing people try to disrupt sectors, and I love seeing people that are trying to do things different. And that's you in a nutshell. Was right, there's this conventional thing here, but I want to try and do it different. I think there's a better way of doing it. And the only thing that I would say with this is, and we've seen this throughout our time as well, is that's great, but it's never easy. Right, and I think you've experienced that, where obviously you've got your technology side that's no easy, but as you say, try to get these mindset changes hasn't been easy.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not just the farmers either. One of the decisions that I made as I was growing the business was, so we went from, just to tell the journey, so we went from something called a conventional high input dairy farm, which meant that our cows stayed inside 365 days of the year eventually. We were 3-4 times a day milking, and a very, very high production. That was how the economies of the dairy farm worked. We went completely flipped on its head and went to organic, which meant the cows must go outside to graze grass. There's much less milk per cow because we're not feeding them as hard from imported feed and things like that. So in my mind, I had completely changed this system, and we were doing everything we could to be sustainable and try and do our bit for the environment and all this kind of stuff through organic agriculture. And then we were putting our milk into a single-use plastic bottle that 9 days later was in a landfill site somewhere. So we made the decision, right, okay, we're no longer using single-use plastic, we'll go to reusable only. So that was glass and reusable buckets. We then decided we're going to down the route of renewables. So we went to biomass technology. So we went all of a sudden from a electric heating source, which is very controllable and very, very, very easy to operate, to a biomass system that goes up and down in temperature all the time and cuts out and flames out and all that kind of stuff. So we had a lot of complexity. And when it came to the customer side of things, when you're walking into coffee shops, for example, who are absolutely mad busy, do they want to be asked with bottles that they empty out, have to wash out, sit to the side, wait for somebody to pick them up? We actually, when we decided to go single-use plastic free, we lost half of our customers overnight in 2019. So we nearly finished the business just because of that decision. But we went back in, did the work. We found the people that wanted to buy the milk, wanted to support us. And today we're scaling massively because of that. We're now working with like one of the biggest catering firms in the UK, which is Baxter Story. Up until recently, we had a contract to supply 100 schools in East Ayrshire. So the word's getting out there and it's beginning to work. But there's a lot of challenges around about the mindset.
Still doing Gleneagles?
Yeah, I still doing Gleneagles.
So anybody that's got a bit of dosh behind them, a bit of dosh behind them, because it's not a cheap place. It is lovely though, Gleneagles, but if you go and stay in Gleneagles, Bryce's milk will be in your fridge.
That's right.
And remember, I said to you, I says, we were staying there and fucking your one was out a day. I'm like, holy Nick, you come to Gleneagles, it's cost you all that money and your milk's out in your fridge. That's shocking. So I ended up, I remember I get something free out of it, but that's you've got the likes of places like that that are investing in, but it's your milk's one thing. but it's your whole business philosophy that's another thing.
Yeah.
It's your, so what you're saying there is obviously you've changed for the single-use plastics, right? Aye, a lot of customers ended up leaving you.
Yeah.
But then what you've then done is you've then created what would I call it? So you've created a customer base and a potential partnerships
Yeah.
of people that want to work with companies like yours.
That's right. Yeah.
So so it's no, people aren't just buying your stuff because of just your milk.
Yeah.
Like your milk's awesome, great.
Yeah.
But the values behind your business, your approach to it, your sustainability focus, and all these things that you're trying to do right and do for good, that'll attract a certain customer base.
Yes.
It's not going to be for everybody. Some people just don't care.
Yep.
Right. Same as it, and every industry's the same. Same as your industry.
Yep.
We go to clients and they go, I just want you to tick a box and do it as cheap as possible. You're not our customer.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's trying to then find the right customers
Find
who
that
see the
community, yeah.
true value in what you're doing, not just from the product, but from your business, that then become, I call them sticky, but they then become long-term relationships.
Yep.
Maybe not the council, but they become long-term relationships.
Yep.
Because they're not just buying it off you because your milk's good. They're
That's
buying
right,
it off you
yeah.
for the whole bigger picture.
It's a full package. Yeah.
Aye.
Absolutely.
And so the likes of which is it mainly just coffee shops and all that kind of stuff that it's going to, or is it just everywhere now?
So the business gets split into three at the minute. So we've got about a third of it's coffee shops, a third of it's doorstep deliveries. So we've got a few delivery partners we work with.
Yeah.
That's how we're doing in London. We've got a big delivery partner down there, and a third of it's into food service. So that's likes of into we supply Scottish government sites through Baxter Story, universities, various other bits and bobs. So that's kind of how it all splits out. But aye, it's been a bit of quite an exciting journey.
Right, so we wanted to talk about resilience today, right? Because we've talked about some of the challenges you've had, but that's not them all, is it?
No.
So have you got any ones in particular that you think that you would like to share with people? Because for every business owner or everybody that's running a company, whether it's a small company, a large company, there is always something that comes and kicks you in the nuts.
Yeah.
Right. And I think so. I've shared quite a lot of the things that where our businesses were going. I wish I'd seen that coming. Because you just don't see a load of these things.
Yeah.
But you've obviously quite a lot of challenges with just because of the game that you're in.
Yeah.
But also you're trying to change it. So is there any ones you want to kind of share that you think anybody that's watching that's maybe running a business might be able to go, do you know what? I can resonate with that, or I'm going to try and remember that if it ever kind of happens.
I think when you asked me that a few days ago on the phone, I thought, how do we do that? How do we talk about it? And I thought, why don't we just go through a few and how we overcame them? Because some of the things I've done have been absolutely mental, but it's actually got us through. And sometimes I think they just share, like I've learned from people sharing their problems and solutions.
Aye.
I think it might be quite good. So the first thing was when we went bankrupt as a farm, I couldn't borrow a book for library. You know, it was just horrendous. All I had was my laptop, my Facebook. I couldn't, and that was it. And that was how we grew the business. We just were open and honest on social media. It was the only way I managed to get milk sales initially, was just like basically just using that platform. But as we grew the business, the bigger problem became obviously it's food safety. Food safety is number one, especially in dairy. You know, the historical issues with dairy. So I thought I need to expand this business, and all I had was a tiny wee room with this like welded together yogurt maker to pasteurize my milk that was based on a Mercedes-Benz automatic gearbox. I thought this is nuts. So I thought I need to like build a dairy, and the bank would not support me. Couldn't get investment. You know, family were very generous with what they could, but you know, no fair a line of millionaires kind of thing. So I thought I need to build a bottling room. So what I did was I went out to social media again and said, look, I need a couple of £1,000 to build a bottling room and so we can go plastic free and buy a machine. And we crowdfunded a few £1,000 to get us off the ground, but a few £1,000 in building gets you nowhere. So I was racking my brains about how we're going to make this place food safe. And I was driving up the M74 one day after a delivery to one of our customers, and a lorry had been in an accident. It was a fridge lorry. And the lorry was written off. You know, driving was okay, thankfully, but you know, the lorry was written off. And I phoned the company up and I said, look, is there any chance I could buy that fridge bit in the back of your lorry, the big box? And he said, I no bother, yep. So I go down to the firm. So I put a couple of lights in it, shut the doors, and it's a food safe dairy. And then a couple of years later to expand again, so I bought another one, cut a hole in the side of it. And actually my dairy's now built out of 5 shipping containers, which were all lorries were written off.
It's brilliant.
So for a couple of £1,000 I managed to build a dairy. So I managed to get that going. The next thing that kind of happened, so we were kind of but by the time it came to 2021, we'd come through COVID. It was a nightmare to start with. We were 90% exposed to hospitality, which collapsed,
Aye.
6 years ago next week. So we're then exposed to doorstep deliveries, which was great. It kept the business going. But by the end of COVID, I thought, right, we went through that. It was sore, it was hard, like everybody else was in business at the time. I thought we have to push hard, and I knew that the East Ayrshire Schools contract was coming up. And I thought, there's no way they're going to invest in a wee business like us, but I put my tender in anyway. And I approached that tender in a very different way. What I said was, we're going to be local milk. We're going to deliver milk with electric vehicles that are charged by solar panels, because we're investing in solar, which meant we could reduce pollution in the kids' playground. And we'd put a small vending machine in every school where the kids could dispense their milk into to save single-use plastic, and so it sold the council an entire system, and that was great, and they went for it, which was amazing for us. We really went, oh my god, how are we going to do this? It had like 3 weeks to find out how to do it. So we managed to do it, got it off the ground, and about a year later we thought, right, now we need to do this properly. We can't keep filling milk in the back of shipping containers. So I thought, right, we're going to go for investment, and that was the start of a very difficult journey. So first of all, everything was going great. There was a grant out for the Scottish Government, which we applied for and got the grant at 40% of this massive amount of money. And everything was going well. Got SNIB involved, the Scottish National Investment Bank, and a private investor. And then there was a bit of a delay, but I thought, no problem, it's fine, it's okay. It got to Christmas that year, and SNIB said, well, actually, this application is going to take a bit of time. That time limit's going to put you over the government grant threshold, which meant we couldn't get the grant. So we basically lost out about £1.5 million in investment. By that time, I dumped about £180,000 into consultancy and design and planning, because everything was going so fast, and I thought it was a sure thing. So that nearly finished the business for about a third time. And then I would say one of the biggest mistakes I made was not stopping at that point and going, right, let's keep doing what we're doing well. But what I did was, we've got this planning permission, I need to chase investment. So I spent about another 2 years trying to get investment for everywhere. I stood in front of loads of people. And the problem was, I was standing in front of people trying to get investment, not concentrating in the business.
Aye.
The business was going down and down and down. Well, it was still growing, but the management of the business was getting let go. And it wasn't until about this time last year I went, something, let's just do what we're good at instead of trying to take over the world.
Aye.
And since then, I would say that the business is performing better. We didn't get investment. We didn't get it for various reasons. At the time, we were trying to chase investment in dairy when plant-based was number one, and then AI came out and that was number one, and then all that kind of stuff. So it was a very challenging industry for us to try and get investment in. But since then, I feel that because we're now not looking for investment, the opportunities are greater, and we're actually just using asset finance and various different bits and bobs to grow the business more sustainably. But from that sort of whole learning experience, we decided that we were still going to do all the different products we wanted to do. So we wanted to launch butter last year. That was a big thing. That was going to cost us like 100 grand of investment we didn't have. So we supplied a small butter maker in Glasgow, and I went to them and said, look, if we subcontract our organic certification to you, could you make this butter in this spec? But we'll say that you made it for us. We're not going to be this big company that gets you to make it on a white label basis and pretend we're doing all the work, and it's you. So that company's called the Wee Nobber Butter, which I think you'll appreciate that name.
Exactly. Hey, I'll be getting Heather on here to tell you something.
And then we use blackthorn salt down the air.
Aye.
That's my first subcontracted manufactured product. And the whole idea is, we're a small company, they're a small company, we're working together to grow together, and it's actually worked out as great for both of us. We literally cannot keep stock of our butter. It's selling it instantly.
Amazing, man.
Did the same with cheese. We get cheese coming in June. We're doing various things, and the whole mindset shift. The whole point of my story is, I went down the route for 2 years, which cost the business a fortune, and it didn't work out. But what's come out of that is, we went, okay, what's our constraints? We're not going to be able to build this big dairy, but let's use lots of different small companies and grow together, and that's been really successful for us.
And I think, again, that's another testament to your ability, let's say the proper to pivot, right? But you're going, right, this isn't working. How do we still get to where we want to go? And you work out another way.
Yeah.
And that, for me, is that's the amazing part. And that's the bit that you bring to the whole thing. But while you're away over here focusing and trying to get money off of people, nobody's doing that thinking. Right? Nobody's doing that thinking. Nobody's thinking about the plan A, plan B, plan C, blah, blah, blah. Right? Because that's you. Right? Most businesses don't have people that have got that mindset. So that's a pure entrepreneur's mindset, where you're going, I'll figure out something.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a way. And I think it's great that it's ended up like that. And that's one of the things. Obviously, we're going for investment just now, but that's one of the things that we're trying to do is make sure that right, it's taking a lot of time, but I'm trying not to let it take my eye off the ball, because I've seen obviously through your time doing it, and you're going. It's different if obviously we're not in a position where we're desperately needing the money. But if you take your eye off the ball, it can become a position where you desperately need the money quite quickly, because the everything that you're doing good just falls down.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But no, I think like the Blackthorn salt thing and working with these people, I just think that's an absolutely amazing way to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you can still go and take over the world, but you're taking over the world as a team. Rather than trying to do it yourself.
Absolutely.
And I think there's so much more value can come for everybody. And back to that transparency and relationship and partnership that's there, I think it can only be massively successful for us all.
Yeah.
I was actually doing it, peacock salt. Looking at how that Blackthorn salt's made.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So obviously I've seen the old one and the new one that are putting up. You're walking right through it and you're going, I actually didn't know that this was here. I knew nothing about it. I didn't have a bloody clue. And managed to even get myself a wee freebie to take with me.
It's good stuff, isn't it?
It's good stuff. It's very good stuff. And I'm like to the missus, so I'm getting home and I'm getting all the putting my salt on stuff. No, I'm getting fancy salt. Mine's is Blackthorn. So, but it's the whole process is phenomenal.
That is absolutely, yeah. And that's a bit that's the bit I missed when I was going through that whole investment bit. Was it's not about trying to chase the big money and the big deals. Not it's about who have you got around about you. Like Scotland's a nation that's famous for its community. Why are we not working together? We've got a food and drink system where if I want to speak to the biggest turnover of food business, food company in the industry, I can literally pick up the phone and go and speak to them. It's one of the things that's really special about Scotland is that
100%.
you can literally talk to MD you want. So I thought, why am I chasing investment for America or London or whatever? I can go to Edinburgh and speak to another wee company, or go to Glasgow and speak to another wee company, and we get together and get to the same place.
Aye. And the thing is as well, I think you can also then provide something that's probably better than you would have done yourself.
Yes, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. Because you're opening up these other opportunities, right? Which you're going, like butter, for example. You know that you could probably do it, but there's somebody that's been doing it for a long time. Let them do it.
Exactly.
And your partners, the salt bit and everything else like that. So we do it in our business. What we do is we don't make any sensors or anything like that.
Right.
So what we do is just work with the folk that are the best at it.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we bring in our value add, which is bringing it all together and the analysing of the data.
Absolutely.
So it's looking at what's the bit that you actually add the true value to, what's the bit that you're really good at, and then surround yourself with other people that you can trust. Because the trust bit's massive in it.
Absolutely.
The people that you can trust to then go to the market as a team and do something that other people can't do.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where you're getting to know as a business. You always worry about the milk and stuff like that. But from what you guys have gone to the market with, who else can really do that?
Right.
And even your big kind of multinational companies, they don't really do. All they just do is buy crap off other folk and then just rebrand it.
Yeah.
Where yous are gone there and there's none of that jazz going on.
Absolutely, yeah. And the other challenge with our industry is like the dairy industry, because of the way it's went with supermarkets and the big dairy companies and things like that. If they want to make a product, what they do is they think of it like a big business. Say, right, okay, I've got a factory. That line there is going to make that product. It's going to go from 0 to however many 1,000 blocks a minute to get through that plant. And then what you do is you end up designing the product to the plant. You don't design the product to be the best product that's out there. And that's why today we've got so many fillers and everything else is in our food nowadays because of all these machinery and because of long shelf life and things. The beauty of what we can do is we can go to small companies who are passionate about their product, about making an amazing product, who are close to the customer and saying, what do you want? Like, we can do that. Here's what we think is the best way of doing it. And then, we can inject a wee bit of the skill go into that bit and we can do that. And, like you make that product, you do it organically and then we'll be the organic side of our business. It's great to have that relationship and that conversation.
Aye, but you're making what the customer wants.
Exactly. It's all about the customer.
And this is back to where the customer evolution journey changes as well, because they're just used to getting what they get.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's what we're talking about. Obviously, just talk about your milk as an example. See until somebody tries your milk, right? Especially in a coffee, I would say. So see until somebody tries that, they don't know.
No, it's just the milk.
Milk's milk. And then they try it and then they go, that's really good.
Yeah.
Well, that's because we use that milk. Well, I'm going to go and try that milk. And then they go, that milk's really good.
Yeah.
Right. But they wouldn't know because milk's milk.
Yeah.
right? But it's the same as cheese, and this is that, because you're just used to going into a supermarket and you get what you get.
Yeah.
You've maybe get some choices in different brands and stuff like that. You might like a brand better than another brand, but if you then went and you said, I want to make my perfect cheese, it probably wouldn't be anything.
No, that's right. That's right.
Right? It'd be different. And that's what that's where the understanding what the customer wants rather than telling the customer what you've got.
Yeah, that's that.
Nah, brilliant. And is that all the relationships all working well?
They are, yeah. I mean, with some relationships I haven't worked out, but I mean, it's like 1 out of 30. You know, it's very, very low. But again, it's going back to the community thing. And the one thing we haven't spoken about yet, we're on Scale Up together, Scale Up Scotland.
Yes, we will, yeah.
And one of the big learnings I had for Scale Up was, I went into Scale Up, went to Blair with you, and you were sitting there the first couple of meetings. And the thing I always remember was I was stressed at my box in the first one, and we were asked to go outside and we were to make a poem or something. We were to make a poem about some kind of business journey to present to each other or something.
Right.
And we were doing it in a group, and I went outside and everybody went out and sat around the picnic tables, and I buggered off and sat myself and wrote it. And I turned around and went, Ken, we're supposed to be collaborating, and I'm sitting here stressed out in my box about something that the business trying to write the poem, and I come running and sat beside you and spoke to you. And I think that was the moment I realised that I was sort of trying to run a business all by myself. And I was trying to do all the thinking, trying to milk the cows, trying to pasteurise the milk, trying to make decisions. And that was when I realised, actually, it's maybe not about me. And then just so happened was the next meeting was more about, collaborating and how do you bring a management team in and all that kind of stuff. So that was when I learned about, fractional folk and put folk that were interims. And from that, I brought a guy in called Declan. He's now the MD at Brownings, and he came in as our first kind of.
So give Brownings a big shout out and all that. See if we can get some freebies off him.
Another amazing local business,
amazing local business.
So Declan came in after I learned that. I kind of reached out to him and says, I'm needing help. Declan was in between jobs, and he came in and brought this level of management into the business that I'd never even thought about it, let alone seen it. It was more about like me sharing the workload. Right? It's not about me telling everybody what to do. It's but like, that's a project. You can go and do that project. That gives you a wee bit of ownership in the business. And I think that between that and realising that we can collaborate with other businesses is released me massively to go and concentrate on things like, if I want to go to London, I need to drive it, but I need to know the business is safe.
Yes.
And we've got a great team doing the business. We've got a great team of people that we're collaborating with. And that's, I think that the future of the business is me letting other people take their responsibilities and giving them a wee bit of ownership, and me sort of trying to push different markets and push different things.
And I think we're doing just now, obviously looking at accountability charts and all this kind of stuff, but it's bring people into your business that are better at the crap that you're not good at.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So that's, I'm quite fortunate because I'm not very good at it, so I just bring in folk that are always better at stuff than me. But that is, we're the same. Obviously we've been through that journey, and again, we were talking about the same kind of things at the same time. It was actually, we had a great group because there was so many people in our group that were all trying to do similar things at the same point.
That's right.
And obviously we're doing the same, trying to bring a management team in, because basically everything went through Kane and I. So we were the same as you, where everything went through us. Basically every decision was made by us. If basically the two of us get ran down by a bus, the whole thing would have been knackered. Right? Hopefully the two of us don't get round it by a bus, but but right now, if I look back at our businesses, yes, there's still a lot of things that need me or him, but the likes of see the business, just obviously we're sitting at the 2 million mark. That 2 million would still survive without us being there, because there's no people in place that take ownership of it, and it's all about trying to get people in, empower them, let them do their role, let them kind of sometimes try and sometimes fail at things as well, because that's a way of learning, and. But that's just the next part of the journey and the evolution and stuff like that. But when we started that journey, your business was you, right? All you. Our business was all us, right? And the evolution and the movement of that going forward has been massive. But obviously, I was quite. So obviously, you came the background you came from. You hadn't really seen that. I was quite fortunate that obviously I ran bigger businesses before, so I knew I needed that. But I just needed. So you need the money. You need the right people. You need to be able to get the right structure in place, and it takes a wee bit of time. But it's I always knew for the day that we started, I knew that was needed. But it was just when. Right, so when's the right time? When's the right time to then? It's not even passing the passing it over to them. It's getting the right people in place, the right structure in place, and then the right level of kind of ownership in place.
Yeah.
And people to realise it, because you could, I think you've had some kind of really experienced people, but we've got a mixture of people that have been promoted, people that have came for different things and all that kind of stuff. And you need it's getting people to get in and go, this is my baby,
Yes,
right? This
exactly,
is my baby, and I'm going to make this work and everything else like that. But that takes time, especially if you've never been holding a baby before, right? And it's trying to get that and make people and get people to understand that. Listen, if you drop it a wee bit, it's all right.
Aye, yeah.
Don't worry, we're not going to go nuts with it, because
Yeah.
you drop it a wee bit, it means that you've tried something new.
That's right.
And but that can be tough for people that have maybe not been in those roles, and that's what I'm saying. We're now getting to a stage where they're all comfortable holding the baby, and it's just right, okay, so that's you can go now. It's the same as what you said. Like when I went over to America, the September before, I don't know if you remember, I came back and I went, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Opportunities are massive, but I need to go. Right, so me and Kane, or one of us, but we will need to go over there and make this happen over there. It can't be done for here.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're going, if any of the two of us leave this business right now, it will be on its arse within a month. So, like, right, how do we make sure we get that? We're going over now in May, and I'm confident that when we're away, then everything should be all right. So we'll see how it goes.
Good luck.
So everybody in the business that's watching this, and it's fucking when we're away, please don't drop it too far. So no, and it's been amazing to watch that journey, because back then I can remember you thinking that you didn't need anybody.
Aye.
Right? You thought you could do it all yourself, and because up until that point it was Bryce against the world.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely was.
But you'd obviously done amazing, because you'd all these barriers, and I'm beating you. I'm getting over that. I'm getting past this, and you'd done it all. But then obviously I think it was you got to a stage you went, I can still be Bryce against the world, but I can't just stay it all myself.
Yeah. It's not until you make that realisation that you turn around and go, actually, I've dropped all these other balls to do this.
Aye.
And that was a big realisation for me. It was funny, because I remember that those two things distinctly at Scale Up was that when I walked out with that bit of paper to write this wee poem, I can't even remember what it was.
I can't remember what it was.
And I think it was like you and Dougie were sitting at the next table, and like, this is exactly what we've just been told not to do.
I'm away myself, because I'm going to do my thing, and mine's going to be great.
Exactly, yeah. That was a big realisation.
No, and I think obviously we still meet up as a group, and for British crap that we kind of forgot about the last one, but we'll get back again. But I think the Scale Up thing for me has been massive. Yeah, absolutely massive.
Absolutely, I know. I'm the same. And it's having that getting back to community again. It's having just people that you can put in the WhatsApp and talk about. Talk about fuel prices are there. Like am I getting bumped from my fuel prices a year, no kind of thing.
But do you think, how come Ian always gets the best prices and everything?
I don't care. No,
honest to God, I need to move to Inverness, because every time it's the same as he's in front every day with everything. In front is me, he's in front is the likes of the Capel and Tap, no, this kind of stuff. He's got everything sorted up there.
He's very sorted, but no, it's just having that community to that understands, felt the pain and been there and kind of stuff. So it's great.
And people, it's a safe space, because you know that you can put someone in there, and even if it's something that's really vulnerable, everybody's going to just help each other.
Yes,
right. It's no somebody's got to go, tell you so. I knew I told you that, wouldn't what? Everybody's there, and we're all trying new things. We're all trying to make a difference. So it's there to pick each other up, because there is, no matter what happens over the next 2 or 3 years, there's going to be times that the two of us are going to be heading their hands going like that.
How do we get through the normal?
That's what says me. Well, we've been on to the invited on to Tom and Willie Hockey's show to talk to talk about the business. But I'm driving up there going, I'm worried I'm not going to go to pay every day. And I'm going to need to tell him about great is. But that's the realisation. That's the real facts. Is that you're doing well, but you're always still worrying about all these things.
That's right.
And then you're going and trying to change something, and you're going, if this works, if it doesn't work, back to the drawing board, and you're sitting back with your feet like that. Aye.
It's a journey, isn't it?
It's a journey. But the thing is, I love the journey. Right? And people sit there doing about, and I bet you have the same though, but people sitting there going like, you're off your heat.
Aye.
Right? But I actually enjoy all that.
Yeah.
Now, you see that your you're constantly fighting a fight. That's what it feels like. It's constantly a battle. You're doing great, right?
Yeah.
But you know there's something coming around the corner that's going to be kicking you again. So it's just that, and that kind of continual fight. Because if it was easy, I don't think I'd enjoy it.
Aye, exactly. Yeah.
And that's why obviously a lot of businesses fail, because people don't realise how difficult it is.
Yeah. I suppose that's another point as well. There's a lot of people, I think, especially now the way the economy is and the challenges around it, I think there's a lot of people in there hanging on, hating life, not wanting to do it. And I think that some of the folk do need to have a bit of a conversation with themselves about, you know, is this what I want to actually do?
Yep.
And then there's other folk that is loving it and ready to push and things like that. So I think there's a big mix out there. I think that, I mean, I don't know if that's the road you want to do, but I think that mental health in business at the minute is very challenging, especially in management and director level as well. You know, I come from a farming background. You know, I've spoken to farmers that, you know, you just think, you know, listen, there's a decision to be made here. I spoke to somebody the other day, and it was like, I just don't think this is for you, kind of thing.
Aye.
And you know, there's plenty of folk to go and speak about it, but you know, that whole the challenge, the pressure, the stress of it is challenging for some folk. It's something that I feel that I actually really enjoy it, like yourself. You know, I'm ready to take the fight to the next person, but you know, I think there's a lot of folk out there that do maybe need a bit of support and a bit of help and a bit of decision making.
I 100% agree, and I didn't know we were going to go down that route, but I 100% agree, because what you have got is, because you know the same as me, right? You're constantly worrying, right? Constantly worrying, because there's constantly something. There is always something happening. But like, say for example, if you're obviously in this game, we don't see it as much at the moment because we're in the industrial world. But obviously, the likes of take that war for example, right? So that war, right? There is people in businesses right now going, I don't know if we can survive. Because of fuel prices, because of whatever else is out there. Then you've got your national insurance hikes, you've got all these other things that are completely out with your control. Right? And those things are completely out with your control are affecting you, your business, your family, your what's getting put in your kids' plate. All of that, right? Absolutely. And no wonder the mental health is horrendous in it. Because what you find in most businesses is that you, as a business leader, you're having to hide all that. Now you're having to hide all that, and you're having to keep all that in. So that's a strong individual that can keep all that in and no let it affect things.
Absolutely.
Because I know myself, like, so I'm the happy-go-lucky guy at my work all the time. My missus thinks I'm a crabbit. Nearly said a very bad word there, but it's because you get home and you go, right, because you're going, well, listen, and it's not that you're depressed or anything like that, but as you're getting home and you're going, right, I can take off this thing where we're needing to, because you're having to,
it's your safe space to
you're having to make sure that your team see that you're trying to do and you're positive. Because if you're sitting there doom and gloom, right, even if things are good, you get some people that are doom and gloom. Their team's doom and gloom.
That's right.
Right. And you want to make sure your culture is something that the people enjoy coming to work. Right. So, but what you have to do then is if there is maybe a wee problem here or a challenge here or something like that, you can't let them. They don't need to see that. That's not their job. That's your job.
That's right.
Right. That's your job to make sure that we deal with all that crap, but also still install the right culture that they are enjoying their work. And that's challenging.
It is. And it's just like you said, you were driving up to the Hunter and Hockey show and feeling like that. And like one of the things I like to share is, you know, I was sitting, you know, it was I think it was like 2022, and I think it was like and with a right period of bad rain, right, and obviously farming is supposed to be there constantly, and that's why farmers moan about the weather all the time because it affects you so badly. So I think it's been really bad weather. They couldn't get the silage in for the coos. So silage, for folk that don't know, is the grass that we harvest during the summer to feed them during the winter. The coos were doing in milk. Our sales were doing because we lost a couple of customers. I had been away for a while and we'd lost a couple of key staff, and I'm sitting there going, how the hell am I going to get through this week, let alone next week, the week after that? I think I had to cancel a holiday because I couldn't get away because we were so short staff. My wife was then upset, so my kids are upset, and I would say that's probably one of the hardest times we've had, is just sitting there going, how the fuck am I going to get through?
You can't look forward because you don't even know what's going to happen next week.
Exactly. And then you've also got 30 folk in the team that's wanting the team meeting about you because they're upset and they've got their problems. So it's very, very challenging to do, and how you go over that is. It's up to you individually, who you speak to, how you deal with that mentally, kind of thing.
One of the boys that we had on this show, so it's one of my mates, Kev Brown, and that's what I said to him. So he does, he's got a company called, he just does it as a kind of side hustle, but it's called Mind Masters, right? And I said to him, I went, see, if I was you, my target audience would be small to medium enterprise directors.
Aye.
right?
Yeah.
I think it could be massively beneficial.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he tells me he do hundreds of things that I don't do any of them. So they might want to listen to him. Of them doing the
Aye.
stuff you tell me is
Yeah.
a different story. But it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And actually, I'm just going to, I'm meeting up with Michael Leahy, who I had in this show. Did I told you about the Vistage thing? Did I?
Yeah.
So Michael and I's conversation is at a last 1-to-1. Wasn't he
Right.
talking about the business?
Yeah.
He's talking about me.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, Nick, I've actually not really spoke about me or thought about me for ages, because you're always thinking of everybody else."
Aye, that's right. Aye.
I'm like, I'm going to run tomorrow. Ended up, that's me. So just that. And it was for an hour and a half we sat and spoke.
Yeah.
And it was just talking about, right, what does Jamie need to get out of this?
Yeah.
Because there's now lots of people that rely on Jamie being at my top level. And I'm like, right, okay, well, I've not really thought much about myself for a long time. And that was a massive switch for me.
Aye.
And I've started trying to, I've not been doing as much as I like to, but started running again, going to the gym, starting to look after myself a wee bit better. I'm like, I've actually no thought about myself for probably about 2 or 3 years.
Aye.
Because you're too busy just thinking about everything else.
That's right. Yeah. I know it's a trap you can fall into quite easily.
So I'll give a shout out to Michael, obviously, in what he's trying to do is, but also give a shout out to Kev. So if there is any entrepreneurs or business leaders or that are sitting watching this, I would 100% advise them to go and speak to Kevin.
Yeah. Because
he's very good at what he does. It's just a boy like us that's ended up going and investing a lot of time, his own time and his effort into actually learning about this stuff, and he's very good at it.
Yeah.
So maybe even see if we can get him to talk to the squaddies together.
Aye, definitely. Yeah.
Right, Kev, come in and help us. Aye. Right, okay. Well, I knew we would end up talking here, right? Because it was a certainty.
Of course.
What's is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I think we've talked. The main message I wanted to get today was about resilience.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of got that. Because for me, hearing your story and how many times you've had to pick yourself back up off the flare, it's fucking better than Frank Bruno's, to be honest with you. So is there anything else you want to kind of talk about while we're...
No, I think, just sticking with the last point about mental health, it's not just obviously directors that's affected by this. One of the biggest benefits to the team I think I've seen that we've had over the years, we've now got a team of 45 people.
Right.
We put in something called the EAP, the Employee Assistance Programme.
Right,
There's plenty of providers out there. And I didn't really think much of it. You know, I was a typical salesman out on my desk trying to sell me something, and I thought, right, I don't know about to do it. And then we did have somebody with challenges in the team, and I ended up signing up for this, and totally confidential. You know, the employees or the directors, whoever can phone up this EAP for mental health support. The program we have gives them the 6 free counselling sessions, and over the years, we've had it for about 8 years now. I've actually had people coming up to me and saying, like, I don't know if they use it or not, I just pay a fee, totally confidential. And I've actually come and says, I phoned that EAP and it was actually amazing because it helped me through this family issue or this relationship issue or whatever. And I thought that's actually really powerful. So we've actually now got a mental health policy in the business that we actually pay attention to. It's not just one for the draw. At tender time. And we do, and you're on board and we say, right, okay, we've got this and this is why we use it and things. And people are actually valuing it. So it's not just the challenges at director level and making those decisions. It's also, you know, everybody's got issues. I feel like that's something we did quite well as a team.
And I think with the whole cost of living and all that kind of stuff at the moment, that is putting pressure on everybody. We're talking about it from a business point of view, but you're totally right. Every single person out there is feeling the pinch some way, shape or form, because it doesn't matter what industry you're in, your wages aren't going up the same amount as everything else is going up. I mean, there's, what was it, fuel up, was it 16p or was it more?
Well, I've just the lights were in 45 pence more than it was 2 weeks ago.
45 pence, it's phenomenal. Crazy. So the likes of that one for everybody is a major challenge. So no, brilliant. And we're trying to look at something ourselves, get more details after. Right, okay. Right, well, listen, what we'll do is we'll leave it at that.
Cool,
Bryce, right? And listen, anybody that's still watching just now live, thank you for watching. Anybody that's like, so here we always talk about a Sunday crew that watching a Sunday. You're one of them, mate. One of them. So it's Dougie. Dougie's a Sunday watcher. I've said when I was like, that's obviously because by the time Sunday comes, his missus is probably get sick of him. She's telling him to get into a room and beat it and stop annoying her. But there's a few, seem to be a few Sunday watchers. So anybody that's watching it back, thank you if you've watched all the way through. Amazing. Bryce is outstanding. He's awesome. His business is awesome. his milk's awesome, and what he's trying to do with the David and Goliath story against these big, I can't say conglomerates, is that it? Is it conglomerates?
conglomerates,
So these
yeah,
big
yeah.
conglomerates is absolutely awesome as well. So
Okay.
anybody that's never tried Bryce's milk, go and find it. If you're staying here, sure, go to his place in Stewarton. It is absolutely amazing. And then hopefully we can get more people onto the way it's supposed to be done.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for being on.
Right, cheers, Bryce. Right, thank you very much, everybody.